Good afternoon, and welcome to Todd Klindt's SharePoint podcast number 288, recorded live Monday, April 11th, 2016. I'm your host, Shane Young, coming to you from my basement here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't even know how to say Ohio. How sad is that? Luckily for all of you, Todd is in a completely different state. He is in Texas. I think he's getting his head examined or something. There's better doctors down there. I don't know. So Todd is gone. And, instead you guys get to spend the afternoon with me. So I do appreciate it. For those of us that are on the East Coast, the show is actually at 5 o'clock. So it is, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you're drinking during the show, I don't blame you because it's 5 o'clock here. All right, jumping right in. Production notes. Production seems to be going well. Todd's been keeping a good schedule. Yay, it's only 288 podcasts in. He's finally got a schedule he can actually keep. But he's traveling this week, so with all that being said, you are stuck with not getting this will probably come out a little late. It's typical, right? When I do the show, it always seems to get produced a little bit later. He tries to make you guys really wait and want me. Also, real quick, I forgot to do the shout out for our sponsors. And as you guys know very well, right, Rackspace is the lovely sponsor of the show, provides the bandwidth, the hosting, makes sure that Todd has a paycheck. So it's a good little company, and you can find them over at SharePoint.rackspace.com. That is all their SharePoint offerings they have available. And then, of course, you can jump over to my old friend, Rackspace.com/Microsoft, and check out their different offerings for everything from the Azure hosting services, Azure Stack stuff for the System Center, and then the Office 365, the SQL, the Windows, the Exchange, SharePoint, all of those fun things. So definitely jump over there and check that out if you have any needs for any of those fantastic services hosted, or you're looking for some fanatical support on your Azure. All right, so there you go. I did them out of order because, well, I'm a bad person. Thankfully, Lori was here to smack me on the knuckles and said, hey, you forgot to do that step. So thank you, Lori. All right. So I think that gets us through some production, some intros. So let's just jump right in. And before you all run away screaming, because I know that no one actually wants to watch a show or listen to a show where I do it, I did want to point out that you are stuck with me hosting again next week. But as a reward for having to be put up with me next week, I will be having Laura Rogers on. Laura's got a pretty big announcement for the SharePoint world, and so she'll be making that on this show next week. So if you join live, you get to hear it live, or if not, you'll get to hear it 2 weeks later when Todd finally pushes it out there. But it should be fun. We'll have Laura on. We'll talk about her new thing, and then we'll also just kind of dive into what's the latest and greatest in the information worker space and all those power usery things that Laura likes to do, forms, workflows. Jump in the chat room next week and ask her a bunch of hard questions. So that way I don't have to actually do any talking or ask any hard questions. Just let you guys do it. Speaking of the chat room, the hooligans are in rare form already there. They are bouncing around, so good to see you guys enjoying your time in the chat room. Like I said, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so you're probably enjoying that. Yes, and Jack just pointed out that InfoPath is back. I don't know. InfoPath is out of vogue. It's in vogue. We had a funeral for it. I got nothing. So we'll talk to Laura next week about all that. So one of the things I wanted to jump into, I get a lot of questions, kind of what am I up to these days? And I don't think I've been on the show recently to kind of catch you guys up. So I thought I would run down for you real quick all the fun things that I had going on. And then once we get through all my fun stuff, then I think what we're going to talk about today is how SharePoint and Office 365 really aren't viable platforms for web hosting anymore. So we're going to talk about some different options you can look at, and then some of the things I've kind of learned along the way, around using things like Google Trends to do a better job of making good websites. So, all right. So first one I want to talk to you about is my newest. I guess not my newest company, my second newest company, and that is boldzebras.com. And so when you get the URL, you'll see that it's spelled, a capital B and a capital Z. Turns out that a lot of people saw that I was doing Bold Zebras, and I don't know, I guess apparently I look like a lingerie designer. I mean, I get the sex vibe that I give off here, but you know, turns out it's not that. So real quick, what Bold Zebras is, I don't want to bore you with it, but Bold Zebras is kind of like, the way I've been thinking of it is management consulting for small businesses and startups. So, right, we've got the Bains and the McKinseys of the world, you know, that come into Megacorp and, you know, for $1 million will tell you how to do things differently, and they wear really fancy clothes and use really fancy vocabulary. I've been in some of those meetings. The vocabulary stuff is off the top. So what Bold Zebras is trying to offer some of that same guidance and advice, but to my friends in the small business space. So, for example, right now I'm helping a local manufacturing company. They make pool floats. So I'm helping them kind of get out of the paper and pencil world. You know, they still send out postcards every year and physical flyers, and, you know, how to embrace digital, you know, not only just digital, you know, customer conversations, but how to embrace, you know, digital, digital dealer experience and all these different types of things. So trying to help them kind of revamp their business and move it out of, you know, the pen and paper ages. So that's the first one, my friend Bold Zebras. It's a lot of fun. The other thing that Bold Zebras does actually is we're helping people start businesses. So a lot of you, this might be something you want to put in the back of the old noggin when you decide to finally go independent. You know, we've got a nice big long document that walks people everything from you've got an idea to go to independent to, you know, how do I create a name for that? How do I file all the LLC paperwork? What type of LLC should I be? What incorporation should I do? What type of website should I do? What type of email should I do? You know, what type of accounting software should I do? There's lots and lots of little decisions that you need to make, and there's kind of a specific order you have to do things. It turns out getting a mailbox is actually the very first step in starting a business. So anyway, we've been helping some companies with that, trying to get themselves going, you know, in all the process. So if any of you are thinking about going out on your own, definitely hit me up. I'm happy to, you know, point you in the right direction there with some of that stuff. So I would also like to point out that my friend Daniel Glenn is currently on Twitter making fun of me for getting the sponsors, so you can just count on him getting blackballed from the show going forward. So yeah, that's right, Daniel. I see you. So that's one of the businesses. I can't even say business. That's how fancy I am. So the other one, you guys are the first ones I've ever told about this new business, and it is called boxchecked.com. So B-O-X checked, C-H-E-C-K-E-D, whatever. Gloria will post the URL for you. But boxchecked.com, and that is an online virtual assistant business. So one of the big challenges we had with SharePoint 911 was growing, right? We went from one guy, me, in a little tiny bedroom to, you know, a 20-person company that was bought by Rackspace, you know, 4 years ago. And as part of that, it was really kind of a work in progress, you know, to figure out all the things like state file paperwork and how to do our accounting and how to do insurance and how to do taxes every year. And all of that virtual assistant stuff has been really, was really challenging for us. We had to pay someone to do it and learn it. So what BoxChecked is doing is we just sell virtual assistants, you know, in packages of 10-hour blocks, so you can just subscribe and get assistant with just that one thing that you want to do so you can get back to doing your own business. Because what we're finding is that a lot of people want to do freelance, whether it's as a side gig or a full-time gig, but it's the paperwork side that sucks, right? No one wants to do the paperwork. They want to go and paint houses for people or, you know, write sonnets or whatever it is that you want to do, whatever that side thing is you can do to make a few bucks. But then you realize in order to do that successfully, you got to do a lot of different paperwork. And so we're offering that through virtual assistant service. Now, one of the things though, because this is the first time I've told anyone about it, we're actually still looking for a couple of beta customers. So some people that will let us kind of come in and try out some different of our techniques, you know, how we're going to do things. And so if any of you have ever thought, man, it'd be kind of nice to have a virtual assistant, we're looking for some free betas. So hit me up. Just go to boxchecked.com and fill out the contact form at the bottom of the page and say, you know, you're a friend of the show and you'd be interested in doing the free beta. And so what we're doing is we're looking for some very specific use cases. And so depending on what you're doing, the size of your business and whatnot, you may or may not make the beta, but if you've got the right use case, we're happy to bring you on. So anyway, that is BoxChecked. And the other thing I've been doing is actually not me pitching you any businesses, but it's I've been working with local startups. So I've been hanging out with an angel investment group here in town, and been listening to lots of different startup pitches, and it's kind of getting into that ecosystem a little bit. So it's been fun to talk to local companies that are trying to start things, and helping them, because some of them are, pre-revenue. They've just got an idea, really pen and paper, kind of drawn up some things, and they're trying to help them figure out how to raise the capital they need to do whatever their thing is. And others are post-revenue who are trying to figure out how to scale. So they're looking for money, to pour into marketing or future development, things like that, and kind of everything in between. So that's been really a kind of interesting space to get into, because I did the whole startup thing, right? We built one, sold one, but it was all bootstrapped. It was all, I don't want to say by accident, but we kind of just forged our own path. And so I'm trying to help some of these local companies just figure out the right way for them to go and grow their business. So that's been really neat for me. One of my favorite ones I've been working with, kind of in a COO role for them, is it's called Rescoper. And so it's project management software that doesn't suck. It's really the way I explain it. And so with Rescoper, there's actually a 30-day free trial because you are a friend of mine. So you can go to rescoper.com/30 and give it a tool a try. It's not like Project Server or Jira or any of those other goofy ones. It's because it's got a lot of artificial intelligence built into it. So it tells you when you add something to your schedule, hey, you're going to break this thing, right? You're not going to be able to meet this goal because you did this thing. And so it's more about helping you kind of manage your daily life and not be overwhelmed, instead of trying to, just have a Gantt chart where you're like, oh, got milestone A, milestone B. It's quite a bit different from that. So I've been very interested in the Rescoper stuff and neat things. So if you try it out, let me know what you think. I don't know. I like that business. I'm very interested in what he's got going on there. So, okay. That is all of the random gibberish I have about businesses in the world that I am currently in. I have like 7 full-time jobs. It keeps me busy. So one of the big things that I wanted to kind of spend the rest of our time on here is, I know that SharePoint, used to be a pretty good platform for building public websites. You used to be able to do it in Office 365. They took that functionality away unless you're still grandfathered in and stuff. So a lot of the people in the SharePoint space are finally having to try and solve, all right, I've always built websites on SharePoint. Now what do I do when I want to build public websites? So the first thing I thought I'd kind of hit on is there's a few different tools that I've been looking at in those spaces and I've been using for different solutions. And I just kind of want to talk about them for a second and give you an idea of what each one I have found is the best for. So the first set is it's Wix and Squarespace. Right, and so Wix and Squarespace, I mean, there's probably 100 others in this competitor space, but those are the 2 I've looked at so far. Wix is actually the one that both of my websites have been built on. Yeah, and I could always use America Online as well, Jack would like me to point out. But what I found about those is, they're pretty nice in that you can just go out there, you pick out a template, you kind of browse through the different ones, and then you can start customizing. And I mean, I literally built the box-checked website in about an hour and a half. I mean, it's not the world's greatest website. It's not going to win any awards. But I had a fully functional website up for, $12 a month. And it took me an hour and a half once I had all the content to just go out there and kind of rearrange all the pixels. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll occasionally see me complaining about having to do pixel editing because it's, I try to chop up my images and stuff. It's not a skill I have. But Wix has been really good for me there. It's got easy customization for the navigation and for controlling how it shows up in Google results and how it shows up if you share the links with Facebook. It's got a whole app store. So, when I look at Wix and Squarespace and those type of ones, they're really nice for if you want to go and build a website that's, a traditional static type of website, not static, but static, slow to change. You just want to go put up a web presence and have a couple informational pages and some contact forms. It works really well. The next one I've looked at a little bit was WordPress. So WordPress also does that type of stuff, but for me, when I think about WordPress, I always really kind of think more about if really the focus of my website is going to be to have a blog, right? WordPress, that's kind of where they got to start with the blogging space, and this web stuff's kind of evolved over the years. So If your primary purpose is to build yourself a public blog and maybe have some web content controls along the way, then I'd probably steer you towards WordPress. Once again, lots of little controls, lots of things that just make for simple modifications to things like, how Google works or how you integrate with stuff. One of the great things about these apps, is, for example, I've been working on a website, and as part of it, we're trying to integrate the website with a MailChimp sign-up form. And it's, MailChimp, another great tool that I actually didn't have listed to talk about here, but MailChimp's a great tool for grabbing your newsletter, right? There's a free version, so you're creating that list. You're able to kind of customize the experience when people sign up to join your newsletter, and then use their engine to keep in constant contact with your consumers and stuff. So, yeah, they would like to point out to me, the chat room's pointing out that WordPress, 25% of the web is on WordPress. I don't know if I really believe that. I'm guessing those numbers are skewed in some capacity, but maybe not. But yeah, so WordPress is a good web platform. I've always thought of it more of a blogging platform. I've just, I've been very happy with my experience with Wix experience. So maybe your mileage will measure or will vary. The last one I wanted to hit on in the website tools is Shopify. And so Shopify is an interesting one, but Shopify in reality is an e-commerce site. So if you're going to go build, a shopping cart type experience, I think Shopify is a great platform for that. So if you're really trying to sell things via the web, and whether that be widgets like the pool float company I'm working with, or online training like someone else I'm working with that we'll talk about next week, Shopify is a good experience for that. But the downside of Shopify is really hard. Shopify is really hard to use when I'm trying to customize the experience. So I'm trying to, change the way the home page behaves. And so you got to go in and modify a bunch of HTML to get the CSS to line up and stuff. So Shopify, great for a shopping cart-based website, but man, the more webby stuff you want to do to it, so creating, a nice experience and content and things, really I think customers kind of expect, and if you're not really just having a straight up shopping store, Shopify is a little tougher for that. So anyway, so those are some of the different tools and kind of my 2 cents on when to use them. So hopefully that helps a little. I don't know. Oh, the chat room likes my tummy holes. Yes, I am wearing a running shirt that has that. All right, so that is the tools. So the next thing I want to talk about is when it comes to your websites, one of the things I want you to make sure you're doing is using Google Trends. So hopefully you guys have all used googletrends.com before, or sorry, google.com/trends. And so what that does, that lets you go out there and explore what keywords Google is using for different topics. And, what keywords people are searching for, right? So you can go in, you can plug in your business idea, and you can see, are people searching for the thing? Because this becomes really important not only for creating new businesses, but also with existing businesses. One of the mistakes I made years ago with a different company was, we had been optimizing our website for, I forget what it was exactly. I'm not going to tell the story correctly, so I'll pretend I'm telling it right. But we'd optimized our website for SharePoint webinar. And, we'd actually gotten to the first page of Google results for SharePoint webinar. Somewhere after that, I got through all of it, and we found, we found Google Trends, and we typed in SharePoint webcast, and we were like, oh, look, it's really highly searched. It's a great term. Man, we're really proud of ourselves. But then you can dig in with Google Trends to the data a little bit deeper, and you can see where people are searching for that content, so where the search is originating from. And it turned out that they were all searching from Asia, which is great. I love people from Asia. The only downside was that we didn't have a product to sell to the Asian community. It was only, our product was only available in the US. So yes, we had done all the search engine optimization. Yes, we were winning, we were on the top of the results, but no, we were actually losing because all that marketing effort was going to naught, because it turns out that the audience that we were looking for was searching for tutorial. Like I said, I probably screwed that whole story up, but give or take a little bit, that's how we did it. So I wrote an article on, kind of how to get started with Google Trends if you're new to it. So it's linked right about here right now. Yay. Definitely check that out. I'd love feedback on what I wrote there and see how it all went. Keeping on the web topic, another article that I wanted to share with you guys, I actually shared it with you probably 2 years ago, first time I found it. But it is a article that is all about landing page optimization. Now, warning, it is a very long article. I mean, first time I read it, it took me like all week. I just read it in little chunks. It was a lot to consume. It was a lot of new information. But what's interesting about it is while it's focused on landing page optimization, it really helps you understand, A, how you're being marketed to. So you're all consumers, right? Everybody buys stuff. Yeah. So it gives you a better idea of what people are doing when they're marketing to you and the actions that they're trying to get you to take, which kind of opens my experience when I go and read websites now. I understand what they're trying to push me to. I always go the opposite way because I'm just rebellious like that. But it also just helps you understand kind of how to build a good web experience. So if you're taking the time to build a website, you know, it's little things like you find out that, hey, your contact button should always be a color that is not complementary to the rest of your website, right? Because you want people's eyes to go there because that's the thing you're trying to get them to do. So I recommend you check out the landing page optimization, especially if you're ever going to spend any money on actual advertising like Google AdWords or you know, or image ad, banner ads, or any of that type of stuff. Don't spend $1 on any of that stuff until you understand exactly what the experience should be like. The other thing that I don't think I have an article off the top of my head, but another thing that I don't think they talk about there, but I wanted to hit on real quick, was also always make sure, you know, when you're building websites, you're always asking for more. So, you know, if you get somebody, you know, they're landing on your page, you're trying to direct them to your contact button or your buy now button or whatever it is. Once you've directed them to that spot, then you want to go and you want to go to the next tier. So, hey, they're on your contact page, they filled it out. Yay, thanks for signing up for a contact. Now go like us on Facebook or Twitter. Hey, you did that, yay. Here's a coupon, now buy something from us, right? You're always trying to create this experience where there's always something else for them to do. So really recommend that you keep that in mind as well, is when you're creating your website, you know, who's your target audience, what type of keywords are you focused on, and what is it that when you're promoting links or content to people, what is it you want them to do? Have an answer to that and then optimize the experience for that. All right. And I can tell you what, the chat room is going wild right now with talking about WordPress and stuff. I'm certain they're also saying that I'm a big dummy in all of this, but I can't read it. That's how fast they're putting their stuff in there. But yeah, apparently WordPress, I struck the right nerve because they're all big fans of the WordPress. The last thing I wanted to hit on the website stuff is user testing. And so there is a free service that I found. If you go to peak.usertesting.com, you get 3 free tests a month. And I believe if you use my express code, which is peak315, so peak315, just makes your tests run faster. You don't get anything more for it. Just makes your tests go to jump to the top of the line. Yay, top of the line. But yeah, the peak user testing. So what that does is that has someone who has never seen your website before, total stranger. They roll up, they hit your website, and they answer 3 questions, and they record themselves the whole time they're experiencing your website. So you get about a 5-minute video out of it of just some random person off the internet checking out your website, trying to figure out what your website do. Does it annoy you or any of that fun stuff? And so I found that it's just gold, right? I mean, from a SharePoint point of view, hopefully you've all been doing user testing for years on your SharePoint sites. I'll cross my fingers on that. And so for that, there's always a more formal, rigid process. But Peak is a great way to just have a quick and dirty test. You know, one of the iterations of one of my websites, they're like, hey, you know, I have no idea what the hell you do. And I was like, oh, because I didn't actually say what I did, you know, in that first above the fold line. And so it's little stuff like that where when you're building a website, you're too close to the process, you just don't see it. But this random person that has no idea what you do or how you are, they're going to point it out real fast. And if you like what they're doing, they actually have some different paid services that look like they're pretty awesome. I have not become a paying customer yet. I'm doing my part, you know, by sharing that they have some free stuff out there. So, and I also have a LinkedIn article there that posted about right here, right now, that will walk you through kind of my experience. I actually have a link to one of my tests so you can kind of hear the feedback that they gave me and the action items that I took based on their tests. So anyway, I thought that was another fun, free way for you to be able to dive in and get a better look at your website. All right, so I think that gets us through all of my lovely little content for today. So I think that just jumps us down here into the promotion section. Oh, the other nice thing about Peak is you can test other people's websites. So if you have a friend who has a website that's really bad, you can just get theirs tested and get the results and tell them they're terrible. Anyway, so promotion, Todd will be at Dev Intersections next week, I guess, in Orlando. That will be the reason that he will not be hosting the show, and you get to spend time with me, not talking about SharePoint, but turns out you're all really big into WordPress, so yay anyway. But yeah, so Todd will be at Dev Intersections. He'll be doing a SharePoint and Office 365 hybrid talk, and then upgrading to SharePoint 2016 like a pro. I can't imagine his upgrade talk will be any good because I've written the how to upgrade from 2007 to 2010 for him and the 2010 to 2013. So he wrote the 2016 talk by himself, so I can't wait to hear how that one goes. So also, Todd will be at the Oklahoma City SharePoint Users Group May 4th. He'll be doing PowerShell with Office 365. Good news, I wrote the original draft of that presentation, so it should be pretty good. And then finally, the last Todd upcoming thing is SP TechCon Boston, and that is June 27th through June 30th. Configuring Active Directory replication with Azure AD and PowerShell with SharePoint Online will be his two topics there. So I actually kind of miss the old SP TechCons. I did all of them for a long time, and I haven't been doing too much of the SharePoint stuff lately. I haven't been there. I need to find somebody to sponsor me to come and hang out at SP TechCon Boston. So if you got a budget that just want to, buy a friend for a week at SP TechCon, I'm your guy. But yeah, I don't have any shameless promotion. All of my stuff is just been sitting here at this computer trying to launch my own businesses and helping some friends launch some of theirs. It's been pretty fun. But definitely, if you guys, check out any of my stuff, hit me up. I love just to hear feedback. Maybe go check out my websites and tell me about all the typos that I haven't found yet. I don't know if I've had box checked, user tested yet, actually. Probably should do that tomorrow. But anyway, I think that does it. So guys and girls, I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next week where you'll get to hear lots of fun things from Laura Rogers. So yay, team. See ya. Have a good night.